is Jackie from Pocket of Preschool, and tonight, or today, depending on when you're watching, we are talking all about spring-themed butcher paper activities. I have a ton prepped and ready to go, and I'm gonna make some, and so as I do the video, so you guys can see how easy and quick they are to make and use in your classroom. So if you're wondering, what are butcher paper activities? Or basically, it's a giant activity on a huge piece of paper. Usually I use like either this giant like rolls of paper. This works if you don't have the really big rolls in your classroom or your school, but you can get these. Kind of like the wrapping paper size paper works really well. Although that is really hard to write on because it's shiny. But this is from Amazon. I have a whole butcher paper activity Amazon list, like Amazon shopping list of all the things that I like to use on my Amazon storefront. So if you want to go ahead and check that out over there, you can. So anyway, this is like the smaller paper. This works. It'll just be really, really long. You can also, again, use the long, big rolls of paper you have probably in your school. Or if you don't have that, you can also use like the really big paper for the easel, or you can use poster board as well. Just kind of use whatever giant paper you have on hand in your classroom. So, butcher paper activities are great because, one, it's usually like a group activity. So there's multiple kids doing the activity at once. And what happens when they're working together, right? They're collaborating, they're practicing all of those social skills, sharing, taking turns, communicating with each other, lots of oral language happening, which means they're practicing complete sentences, they're using vocabulary, they're taking turns in conversation, they're making their sentences longer, adding more detail to them, all the things. And then, so we have oral language, we have social skills, and then you have also whatever skill you're working on, whether it's literacy, math, science, whatever that might be. And you can also work on those gross motor skills. Now it's not, they're not doing jumping jacks, but what they are doing is reaching to reach the other side of the table, or they may be like reaching for a material, or standing up or sitting down and doing that activity, whether it's with markers or manipulatives. Either way, when they're stretching, they're using these bigger muscles. So they're using their shoulders, they're using their upper arms, and they have to have strong big muscles in order to have strong little muscles that they need for writing and drawing. And they're also using their core as they stretch and move and groove and learn. And then when they're up, moving and learning, one, less behaviors, right? Because they're up and moving and doing and talking and all the great things. And they're learning from each other too, which is great. So let's jump right in. Oh, first, tell me in the comments your favorite butcher paper activity that you've done. Doesn't have to be spring. It can be one that you did in the winter or the summer. Tell us all the things in the comments below. So this one, you can pretend is a couple things. So this is just a green piece of paper, and I drew various types of lines. So we have kind of that, we have scallops, we have zigzags. Down here, we have a spiral. We have kind of some like wavy random lines. I have this big piece of paper, and I drew little pieces of grass. Now, you could pretend these are different things. You could say they're worms. You could say they're snakes. You can pretend they can be whatever you want them to be in the grass. So what students are gonna do is they are going to trace the line. With manipulatives. So you could put out pom-poms. You could put out, I love these gems. You could put out little rocks. You could put out even little, these are like those bingo markers. And these are great because as they trace the line, after they trace it, they can clean it up really easily. That's really nice. So basically they have a whole bunch of different manipulatives on the table, and they are gonna practice making all of the different types of lines. And then you can reuse it again for another day. So they may practice making the type of line with gems for this one. And then another friend and may work together with them, and they may work together to make this scallop line. Or maybe they're gonna make this line up here at the top with rocks. I like, these little bowls are from the Dollar Tree. I think they're for like ice cream or something. They usually have them in the springtime in like the food section, but you can do it, but they're really great for like little containers of stuff. And when you put out multiple manipulatives, it gives them a choice, so they get to kind of pick what they wanna make everything with. And then they can also too make patterns with the manipulative. Some kids will naturally just want to make a pattern. Some kids won't, and that's okay too. So some kids will make patterns as well as they're making the types of lines. Now, let's say you do this day one with the manipulatives. The next day you put it out. Put out a bucket of markers, because what they can do on this day is, here, I'm gonna show this corner down here. Or no, I'll do this up here. Okay, so you have that bucket of markers out. So what they're gonna do is each kiddo is going to trace the different types of lines. And as they have to move across this giant piece of paper, they're gonna use their upper arm muscles. So these will get strong as they're doing the different types of lines. And this is great because different kids can do it, and maybe they don't do every line, maybe they just do some of them, and they're just gonna trace that line. You can also put these on the floor, so that way they can trace them on the floor. But again, a bunch of different kids can use these because they're just tracing all of the different types of lines at once. And again, you can pretend, you can say these are snakes in the grass, and you can even, where did I put my snakes? You can even put out little snake manipulatives. Or these are probably from the Block Center, sorry, like animal figures. So you can put out little snakes, so that way they know these are snakes in the grass and they're making little snakes. If you want them to be worms, you can put out little worms. I love to get worms from the fishing section at Walmart and make sure they don't have hooks in them. And then they can, it just kind of makes it more fun, because now they know, oh look, these are snakes in the grass. You know, just a little more fun. Adding that manipulative in. So, snakes or worms in the grass, and they're gonna make all of the different types of lines. Now you could also do this with a sunshine. So draw the sun in the middle and then draw all the rays, different types of lines. So let's make that one together. So I'll use this smaller paper. And if your students are not writing on them or using dot markers or anything, I save mine so I can use them again, and you can just fold them up. So what you can do is draw your sun in the middle, and then draw the different rays going out. You could also do this with a jellyfish. That would be really fun too. To draw your big jellyfish and then have that coming, have all the different types of lines coming out for his like stingrays, and just all different types of lines. And you can even color in the sun if you want. Let's see, let's do just like a crazy one. But you could do it on a bigger line or a bigger piece of paper, but you get the idea, right? Yellow is kind of hard to see, but you could also do it in black, and then so they can see it too. But you kind of get the idea because it's in yellow. If you have any friends who are colorblind in your classroom, make sure you're making those lines stand out a lot so they can see them. So that would be a really fun way to practice all the different types of lines. And again, you could also do a jellyfish, and let's go ahead and make that one together. First, I love using either like the smelly markers. So you could make all the different types of lines for their tentacles. But how much fun is this, right? And again, you can put out a bucket of markers. You could put out little manipulatives, and they can trace that line. I know we're not talking about an ocean theme, but the jellyfish was just too cute not to talk about. And look how easy this is to clean up. And then it's ready for the next person to play. And usually when we're doing anything that has this many, I wait until all the lines are full, and then I come over and I help the kiddos clean it up and for the next group of kids. But it's nice when there are maybe 1 or 2 of them done, so that way when the next group of kids come over, they kind of have a, it's kind of a model for what they're supposed to do for the activity. So let's talk about some literacy activities. So this one is for birds, right? The little nest. Now, when chickens hatch their eggs, all the hens also sleep in a nest, so you could use this also for farm. So for this one, we're just gonna match some letters. So you can put out your box of letters, and you guys, you don't have to put it in a different container. Literally put this out, put your magnet letters out. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna match the letters. M, okay? We're just gonna match them. Super, super simple, super fun. Now, if you have plastic eggs that you have, like I made this one into a letter game, so it has an uppercase and a lowercase a on it. I usually use these around Easter time. These are great for a bird theme too, so they could put the egg on it, and obviously one's gonna be upside down, but that's okay. Or you can put them that way, or they can put them on there as the whole egg. They can match them. We're gonna find H, okay? So, or you can make another set of eggs where they're both right side out. But if they get annoyed with them rolling around, just have them match just the uppercase or the lowercase, depending on what works. So I would just put these in like a little bucket at the table, and that way they can match the eggs. They can match the magnet letters or any letter manipulative that you have. So again, just a really, really fun way to, again, get them up, moving, stretching, matching letters, because what are they gonna be doing when they're doing this? Kids are not quiet, right? They're gonna be talking and saying, oh, there's J for Jackie, that's in my name. Oh, there's H for Henry. Henry is, he's not here today, or, whatever it might be. Or Henry's my dog, and blah, 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 blah. Tell you all the things. So keep those plastic eggs out for your bird theme or your chicken thing. Okay, so we have the letters. We're gonna do literacy all together. So I made little seedlings, I guess. So I just drew some dirt, and then I drew little seedlings. So just a stem with a little leaf on it. And I didn't put letters on all of them, but what they're gonna do is they're gonna match the letters. And again, take your letters that you have in your room and put them out. Or if you want to be extra special, where are they? You can, these are so much fun and they're so easy to make. So take some lima beans and write the uppercase on one side and the lowercase on the other, and they can plant the seed for the seedling to grow. So they can plant the seed. And again, there's uppercase on one side, lowercase on the other. Now, you could also do this with numbers. And you could make, can't pick them up, they're tiny, little numbers. This one says 15. And this is also really great for fine motor. But again, just making those easy manipulatives. If you have letter rocks, you could do letter rocks and pretend they're seeds. This is V, so they have to find the V. And see, oh, there it is up in the corner. So use these little letter seeds. These little bowls are from the Dollar Tree. They're in like the fancy party section, if you know what I mean. So again, magnet letters, little letter manipulatives that you make. I love making DIY letter manipulatives. So just grab some beans from your sensory table and make some little lima bean letters. Or you could grab also these, the bucket of rocks I have. You could also put, write letters on these rocks, and then you have rock letters, or you can pretend they're seeds. So we have a fun seed letter game. Now, if you are teaching kinder, or if your kiddos are ready to practice beginning sounds, I love, these are like letter magnets, but they have beginning sounds on them. So you could put these out, and instead of practicing uppercase or lowercase letters, Now they're practicing sound. Cat, k, C. Whoops. Ball, b, b. And they have to match the sound. I love these. These are old. Hopefully the new set. Hopefully there's a couple different ones in there with the new set. I think there are. I need to get the new ones. But again, B, B, E, and then they can match it. Okay, I can't find them, of course, on the video. But 3 different levels. They can match uppercase with uppercase, they can do lowercase with uppercase, or they can do letter sounds. Now, you can also do, if you have like rhyming magnets, you can tape one to that and then they can rhyme with you. So those are some fun letter games. Now, I wanted to make another one, whoops, with you guys. A giant piece of paper. So big and so much fun. You can also too cut them if it's too big for your table and you know that's gonna annoy your kiddos or it'll annoy you. You can also cut it to fit your table perfectly in your classroom. So what we're gonna do now is make flowers, but maybe you want students to practice writing their names or writing their friends' names. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a flower garden with everybody's name. So you could also do this with clouds for, like if you're doing weather, maybe you're already done with flowers. Okay, so pretend like I drew a whole bunch of beautiful flowers on here. And then what I'm gonna do is write a kiddo's name on each one. Like maybe this is Matt. And then, oh, we forgot the stems. Maybe we don't really have room for stems, but maybe we got a little leaf on your flowers. Growing in the garden. Okay, so and maybe this one is Jackie. And this one is gonna be Jose. So you can do a couple things with this. Well, one, you're gonna have flowers with everybody's name on them. And if you have 18 kiddos, you can either make the flowers smaller or have it giant and put it on the floor. And then what you're gonna do is, you can put out a letter manipulative. I love magnet letters because that's what everybody has in their classrooms, right? And what students are gonna do is they are gonna come in and they are going to match the letters to make everyone's names. Okay. Oh, there's no T. So what are we doing? We're talking about letters. You can talk about letter sounds. Why can't I find the letters that are on here? S. Okay. And then again, it's really, really fun. Jose. And then they're just making those. You can also have students copy them. You can put out the bucket of markers and they can trace the name and then write it again. If you don't want the names to be super like written on a lot, put out highlighters or put out just like, or put out maybe just some of the lighter colored crayons. So that way they can, when they trace it in crayon, it's not as dark, right? So if they, after like a whole bunch of kiddos write on it, it's not gonna be like crazy like it would be if you're using markers, because you can't really see when I'm tracing them, right? So even if a whole bunch of kiddos trace the name, it'll still be fine because you'll still be able to see it. So again, you can do this in 2 days. So day 1, you can do the letters, and then day 2, you can put a crayon on each one, and then they can trace the name. So now we're practicing writing letters using students' names, which that is the most fun way for students to write names, right? Because why? Students love their own name. They love their friend's name. It's the most important word in the world for them. So use the things they love and do that. Now, if you don't want to do flowers, what else could you do? You could do a cloud at the top and do a whole bunch of raindrops. You could do a whole bunch of clouds. If you're doing a farm theme, you could do a whole bunch of little pig faces, and they have all the little piggies in the pig pen. If you're doing, what are some other themes? If you're doing bugs, you could put it, do like a butterfly, and or not a butterfly. What's a better bug for that? You could probably do like an ant, and then, or maybe, I don't know, whatever bug, ladybug or something. I'm not thinking of the best ones right now off the top of my head, but do a bug, draw a little bug with little legs and write the name in the middle, and then write, they can trace, or they can do the names with magnet letters underneath. So there are some literacy for you. So we worked on writing letters, we worked on beginning sounds, and we worked on names. Let's switch to colors. So this is a rainbow, as you can see. I know a lot of you guys do this one in your classroom. Open this one. Okay, so we have a giant rainbow, and again, I just threw it on there with a whole bunch of smelling markers. I love these things. So you're gonna draw your rainbow giant. Now, what can you do? There's a couple things you can do. They can match the colors, right? So they can match the colors. And again, you can put out a whole bunch of different manipulatives for this. Where are my other ones? Here, there. You can put chains on there. Oops, these two are stuck. Okay, so now we are just matching, we're matching colors. You could do this with a big chain and they have to connect them. That would be really, really fun too. And again, you can keep them in the same buckets. You don't have to get new buckets out for everything unless you want to, then more power to you. Now you can also put out letter manipulatives. You can use magnet letters. You can also use letter beads, because I know some magnet letters maybe don't have like pinks and purples and things, but these are letter beads from Learning Resources. We don't really ever use them as beads, but then they can match the letters. Now, these also come with, well, there's also a set of lowercase, which I love. So then they can match the uppercase, the lowercase, and we're just matching with colors because kiddos need a lot of experiences with letters. That way they know what they look like. They know what all the different types of lines are in them. So again, just really fun. We're matching colors and we're matching letters. And then at the end, once it's full, and this will take a while to fill up, especially if you use these, the letter beads, which are great, because then you can clean it up all together as a class at the end, and they can sort the different things and put them out. Now, you don't have to put out that many different manipulatives. You could just put out these two and call it a day if you want. Do what works for you, your classroom, and your students. Speaking of bugs, this is a whole bunch of dragonflies that I drew. As you can tell, I'm a really good artist. But basically what I would do with these is you can either grab just the dragonflies that you have, and they can match those, that's the blue one, to the different colors. Okay, they can match just the dragonflies. If you don't have that many dragonfly manipulatives, that's okay. You can put out, it's just a little pan I had. Oh, I put those away. So you can match the letter manipulatives, and you could put out something like pom-poms, and they could put the pom-poms on there. And also, as you're using all these small manipulatives, what are they doing? They're also working on all of those great fine motor muscles. And we need strong fine motor muscles and strong fingers and strong wrists, so that way when we go to write, our hands don't get tired, right? So, whoop, you can put out letter manipulatives. Now, you could also put out the letters, and they can match the letters as well. And you can say, oh, when you pick a letter, I want you to say the name and say the sound. E, F, E. Oh, wrong. There we go. G, G, girl. Or have say a word that begins with that. Just say the letter. Again, if they're 3, they might not know a lot of the letters. But if it's you're doing spring, hopefully they know more of them. They can say, oh, if you don't know, you can ask a friend, and they'll go, oh, I don't know what this letter is. Do you know what this letter is? So now we're talking about letters, and they're learning from each other again. Really, really fun. And again, you can tell I kept this one. This is one I did a couple years ago, and I kept it. Now, if you're wondering how I keep these, it's really nothing fancy. I literally have a stack of them on top of my paper. I got one of those, I know some teachers, they get like a clothing, like mini clothing stand, and then you can fold them in half and put them on hangers. I have that, but I haven't been that organized where I keep putting everything away. So, okay. So now let's talk about, we'll switch gears a little bit. We'll switch to some math activities. Okay, so I drew some clouds at the top. Now, I just thought about this off the top of my head. You could also do lightnings going down, and they can trace it with manipulatives, again, doing all the different types of lines. So you could draw yellow lightning bolts going down. But for this one, I wanted to do something that has to do with rain. So you could put out your bingo daubers. Hopefully you have a couple more blue ones, and you can put those out. And then what you're gonna do is put out some dice. And what they're gonna do is roll the dice, 2, 1, 2, and put that many raindrops on. Roll the dice, 1, roll the dice, 3, roll the dice, 2. Now, this is a great counting activity, right? And they're developing one-to-one correspondence. Now, if you want them to work on adding or counting on, roll the dice, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is great too, because it's gonna take a long time to fill in this piece of paper. Many, many kids can play this. Now, if you want them to work on counting on, what you do is you can have them roll the dice, tell them to say the number and cover it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roll the dice, cover one up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, you know what would be really fun? Is if they roll the dice and they put them in a line going down. 1, 2, 3. And again, they can do whatever. It's totally fine. But that would be fun too. Or they can do them towards the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You couldn't see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But eventually it's gonna be all filled up, and you can use the light blue, the teals, you can do green, whatever your heart makes your heart happy. But again, just dice. And you can also put out a bunch of dice. It doesn't have to always like match and be the same color. If you don't have that many dice, that's okay. You could also just put out markers, and they roll the dice, 1, and they can just dot 2. They don't, in case you don't have dot markers. So really, really fun. Oh, I thought about this one too. Okay, let's pretend like I don't have any of these dots on here. You could also put out dice. Where is it? And put out these gems. These are those blue glass gems from the Dollar Tree. So they could roll the dice. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they put 6 on. And you can have them put them in a line. They can just put them on. Whatever you want to do. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, they can keep rolling. You can do dots and gems, totally up to you. So fun, right? So many different ways to play. So we're gonna keep going with our weather theme. This one we did on the floor. It's really big. See how big it is? Or no, maybe we did this on the table. I can't remember. But it's gigantic. So what we did, I just drew clouds on this. Now, if you're wondering how a lot of these like black thick lines, how I get them, it's what's called India ink. It's from Amazon. Now this big thing, you could probably, and you buy the empty bingo daubers and you put them in here, and or you can just buy, it's called India ink. One thing of India ink on Amazon. I have it in my Amazon storefront under butcher paper activities. But if you buy this big thing, like literally your whole team can use this for years. Like it lasts a very, very, very long time. Or you could probably honestly buy one for the school and give every teacher one of these and you'll be good to go. So we have giant clouds. And all I'm gonna do, you guys know I love cotton balls. all they're gonna do is put that many on. One, of course I get the big numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then they just put that many in. Now, if you want this activity to last longer, what you can do is put out a variety of manipulatives. So you could put out the cotton balls, you could put out these blue gems, so that way they could also put 7 of that object in. Right? So they have 7 cotton balls or 7 of these. You could also put out, where are they? If you have a whole bunch of like blue, or you could put out blue and, what are these called? Unifix cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just gonna pretend that this is 7. Okay, of course they won't go together right now. I think I have 2 different sets in here. That's what it is. This goes to a different set. So pretend that's 7. So they could put out different amounts. Now, you could also just put out cotton balls. When I did this activity, we did it as a morning table time activity. We were doing it as the students were coming in the morning. So I literally just had the cotton balls and the clouds. We didn't have any other manipulatives. So I just had this out huge, again, on the floor on the table, and they were counting that many out and putting that many on. Really, really fun. You could also do this with letters. Put letters on the inside, and then they can sort the letters. All right, so you can also practice making numbers, right? So we have some ladybugs, and we love ladybugs because they have 2 sides, right? So what you're gonna do, I forgot to grab them. I have little gems like this that are black, but I don't know where they went. That's okay. What we're gonna do, we're gonna grab these cubes. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna make 2 and put different amounts on each side. So maybe this one's 2 and 0. If they were gonna make 9, so they would count out 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they could put some on this side and some on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and then they would say 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 plus 4 equals 9. So basically like kind of a number bond. So they're working on number bonds with little ladybugs. Now, you could also, if you have 3-year-olds, put the number on the top, and they're just gonna count out 9 and put it on the ladybug. We're not gonna be concerned with what's on what side, right? Just a super basic counting game. Now, if you're using it as a counting game, you can also put out number manipulatives, so they also have to match the number manipulative. These are those, number 9. These are those glass gems. These are the big ones from the dollar store. So they can also match the numeral with the quantity. So we're making the quantity and the numeral. Or if you're in kinder, you can work on number bonds. You can even have them do different colors on each side. Up to you, but again, either counting or adding. 2 levels of play. You pick the way that works for your kiddos. We're still going with ladybugs, and we're gonna do some math. So, for this activity, we are going to work on measurement. How many fit in the ladybugs? You can't see it, but I have all different size ladybugs on this paper. So it's kind of like when you do the mitten in the winter, how many can fit inside. So you're gonna do the same thing, except with ladybugs. If you don't want to do ladybugs, do different size clouds. If you don't want to do clouds, do different flowers. You could also do leaves, okay? But what they're gonna do is they're gonna take the manipulatives and see, here, I'm gonna do it with the smaller ones, see how many fit. So, this one fits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they're gonna fill in this one and see how many fit inside of this one. Now, these are gonna take a minute to fill up, right? So if you want your students to fill these up faster, use a manipulative that's bigger. So maybe like a larger block, or if you have like those reusable ice cubes, like the clear ones, those would be perfect for this too. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna fill it up. And then after you're done, if your students are younger and they're not able to count this high, what you're gonna do is you can call the whole group over, and you can have them line them up, and then you can count that way. And that way the teacher can count if they don't have one-to-one correspondence, or maybe if they can't rote count this high. So maybe your students can't rote count this high. So you do it. Say, okay, everybody come over. We're gonna count and see how many fit in each side. And maybe you're gonna write it down. And if you don't wanna write on it, it's okay. Use a Post-it note and they can stick it on there and say how many fit. So you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would just count how many. This one fits 25, and put the Post-it of 25. Again, if you want to reuse it, if not, just write 25 next to it, and you can count out the other ones too. But if these are too small, just use a bigger manipulative that'll fit. That'll take less to fill it. So here, keeping the measurement going, we have some worms. So worms in the dirt. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna measure how big they are. So I'm gonna put out different manipulatives so they can measure how big the worms are. So we're gonna put out some Unifix cubes. We're gonna put out some rocks. Where did they go? Oh, the snakes. Oh my gosh, I can find them. Okay, I had something else out over here, but it's fine. But any like manipulative, you can either color code it or not. Totally up to you. Maybe you want to use these green gems, whatever you want to do. Maybe you have some like pom-poms. You can do that. So what they're going to do is they are just going to put that many objects. Obviously, I'm doing it quicker because I'm on the video. Oh, and cubes. That was the other one. Oh, they're right here. Oh my gosh, you guys. But again, they're going to measure how long it is with the rocks. So what are they doing? They're measuring with using non-standard measurement tools. So they're measuring with these, and they don't have to always connect the cubes. They can, but you don't always have to. So they can connect them, and then they would put them. I think I have 2 sets in here mixed up together. So they're gonna measure how big that one is. This one, oh, is it long enough? Oh, it's a little bit longer. Maybe if I put one more on, it'll fit. So again, they're gonna be talking about, which one, does it need more? Does it need less? Is this the same? Is this equal to? Is this longer? Is this shorter? Again, lots and lots of math vocabulary as we are measuring the worms. Now, you don't want to pretend they're worms, that's fine. You can pretend, you can make them different colors. They can be, and have green paper. They can be snakes in the grass. You can do like, use the dot marker and do dots, and they can measure the caterpillars. That's really fun too. So, non-standard measurement, giant size. So the same thing, except with our sun rays. Now, it's hard for you to probably see this. So if you have a kiddo who's colorblind, you probably want to outline this in yellow so it's easier for them to see. And then, before I came on, I put all of my orange and yellow manipulatives in here. So that way, again, you don't have to do it color-coded. You can, totally up to you. But they're gonna measure and see which ray is the longest with all of the different things. Again, we're just practicing measuring, using various tools. They can connect the cubes. And they can measure, again, different ways. Then they can count. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big. Why is it the same? Because these are smaller than these. So you're gonna have lots of great conversation, all kinds of fine motor. hand-eye coordination. Just use whatever manipulatives you have in your classroom. If you have chains, pull out that color, put those out. If you have, these are from like the light table. These are great for butcher activities. These are translucent color chips from Lakeshore. Any color chips work. If you have, again, pom-poms, gems, whatever you have, bingo markers. Again, just another circle chip. Whatever you have, pom-poms, cotton balls. Use all the things you have to measure and just look in your math cabinet, in your manipulative cabinet, and see what you have. You don't always have to buy new fun stuff, although it is fun to go shopping, but we want to make sure that, you know, we're not breaking the bank here. Okay, so we have our sun. Now, I haven't done any pattern activities yet, so I wanted to make it with you guys. So what we're gonna do, where did my scissors go? Here they are. Okay. So what are some things you could do to make patterns with? You could do the rays of the sunshine. You could also do caterpillars. So what you're gonna do, and you can do this a couple different ways. So one way is to start the pattern and then have students finish it. So you'll start it. I mean, caterpillar patterns are amazing, aren't they? I also have a caterpillar pattern printable on my website as a freebie. So if you want to grab that, you totally can do that too. So there's a couple different ways you can do, you can extend patterns. So again, I like to start it with the dot markers before my students get here. That way they have some to get started. Oh, I don't know why I did 3. Whoops. That should be green. And again, that way there's all different kinds of ones going. And you always want to do the pattern, twice. Oops, 1, 2. And then, let's see. Well, you kind of get the idea, right? And then, so there's a couple of different things you can do. You can put the dot markers out and they can keep going with it. But what happens when you do that, or you can also use these dot stickers. But what happens when you use dot stickers or you let them use the dot markers, it's like a one and done. Once all the caterpillars are made, the activity is over. So I like to put out, with dot marker activities, I like to put out pom-poms. So that way, if a whole bunch of students do it and they're all done, what can you do? You can kind of like erase it. Basically, just like clean up the manipulatives and you can start again, right? So that way, again, a lot of kids can do the activity. I had 18 kids in my full day classroom. I would give them pom-poms. So that way I could do the activity with a small group of kiddos, or after 5 or 6 kids did it and they're all full, then, you know, then the next group of kiddos can go. Oh, you know what else I like to do is make like little, like here's some caterpillars in the grass. Just add a little bit of grass and that way it's just a little bit more fun. And again, they don't have to start 2 all at the same spot. So you could have some start over here. We'll do 2. So they don't always have to start in the same spot. One more set of blue. And they just keep going. So they can be all over the place. Okay, maybe you want to pretend these are snakes. Caterpillar, snakes, worms. You can pretend whatever. You can pretend them to be whatever you want. Oh, you can also too, if you don't want to do, if your kiddos don't like pom-poms and you have a class that loves cubes, they can also extend the pattern with cubes doing the dot markers. Oh, look. It's like it was ready for me. Okay, again, or you can put both out. So that way they have an option. They have options. So another pattern activity you can do is, you could do, I said like the lightning bolts. So you could draw, where's my markers? Here they are. You could have your clouds in the sky. Oh wait, not lightning bolts. I meant rain, sorry. And then you can have the raindrops coming down. So maybe it's blue, purple, and then they can keep it going. And then maybe it's green, green, purple, green, green, purple. Okay, tons of different things you can do with patterns. And I'm sure as you're sitting there thinking, you can think of even more that I haven't come up with. So, oh, you could do it on the sunshine too. So you could draw the sunshine and then the rays going out could be longer. You could also do little fish and the bubbles coming up. Or, we're gonna pretend those aren't there. You could have your fish. Oops, I have itch. And then, let's see. You could also have them do the stripes. So you do some stripes. And this is one where they would keep going, right? Like you would put the markers out and then they would be able to keep going with the pattern. And maybe you have another fish right here. Maybe this one's pink, pink, yellow, yellow. Okay, and then they're gonna go to town. So we got patterns going galore. And then you can draw a bunch of fish. Now, if you don't want to have them with the marker buckets out for the pattern. So again, lots of kids can do the activity. I like to cut up, I don't have it out here, cut up pieces of pipe cleaner. And so kind of actually have a little bucket of cut up pipe cleaner in my closet. And you can have them keep the pattern going of stripes with cut up pipe cleaners again. When you have 18 or 25 kiddos, like some of you guys do, we need to reuse. We need to make the activities reusable, right? So much fun. So I hope you guys loved all of these spring themed butcher paper activities. So again, I hope you loved all of these great butcher paper activities and you guys have an awesome night or day and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.